hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight, summer sky, it was the best we ever had. And we'll stay on forever. We'll never have regrets. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the world you are. Hello, we are back. It's Monday. Here it is almost 2:15 Central European time, and I do slightly apologize for the delay. It is a combination of Monday is Monday, then the clock that I usually look at up on the wall, it decided on stopping, as in batteries up. So right now it is still 10 minutes to 1. Apparently, and it's been like that for the last hour and 20 minutes. And I didn't even manage to reach to change the battery, but luckily I do have another clock here at my computer to help me keep track of time. But that kind of being like, I have plenty of time, I can still reach to do that and that and that. So I did get lots of things done today. That's awesome. Then I also had to wait for the mailman, who kind of were on time. It was supposed to be no later than 10 minutes before 2. He was definitely there, maybe 1 minute before that or a minute after, but just pretty close around. But do you know what? They decided they had to sort the whole van of parcels before they found my parcel and handed it over to me. It took them at least probably 5 to 10 minutes to do so. Like, maybe deliver the parcel and move on with your business. Because, you know, some of us are on a schedule. At least that's how I felt. So I ended up closing the door after I had waited for them for like at least 2 minutes. And I reached to do a few more things until the door bust. Because I was like, yeah, I know you guys have a parcel for me. Just like hand it and I can get done with my stuff and you can get done with your stuff. Oh yeah, it's one of those days. So, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Ref. I had a great weekend, thank you. Good morning, Susan. Happy Monday indeed. Good morning, Megan. I have been busy. Well, that's not a surprise, but I have been busy. I have been working on the vest. I took some time to sit down and actually understand the pattern from drops, which is written like shite, but we all know that. But I did manage to kind of understand. I'm not completely sure if I like it right now with how it's working, but I can also see if I would have to do it differently, it might not work up as neatly. I'm a little bit in doubt right now if I would want to do one or the other. So right now I'm a little bit in, I need to believe in the process. I will explain you that in a minute. Also, I did do another round on the hat collectors, and we are at a row that should be reasonably easy to get through, like reasonably quickly. So yeah, there is that. So, and cheers. I do have not my tea. I do have my tea next to it, but my tea is warm. So this is just a regular lemonade. It should be raspberry and cranberry. So I do a regular lemonade. Then I have my tea, which is a classic Darjeeling, but it is cooling right now because, as I said, it is boiling hot. That was also one of the last things I did. And yes, please give me thumbs up for this live. That would be such appreciative and helpful. So. Let's see if I can explain this. I will need to pop over here because see what I'm doing. This is where we are at. I've decreased. And now I just need to work up, and then I need to increase again for wider shoulders. And I probably, what I should do is I should pop you guys down for my jewel stream, and then I can easier explain on the table what I'm a little bit at unease with here. So we pop over here, you pop guys down, ta-ta. We should be pretty close, maybe that's a little bit too, like that. So as you can see, I have been decreasing on both sides, and the decrease follows as following. Slip 3 times and then do the treble. Actually, they suggest chain, but I stacked 3 singles. Then it's slip stitch 2 and slip stitch 2 and slip stitch 2. So it's like here I decreased by 3 and then by 2 by 2. I need to do one more by 2. Right? No, because this is decreased by 2 and this is this as well. Why is this? Yeah, it looks like that because it's the other side. Anyhow, and I need to weave in ends at some stage. But right now I'm waiting on doing that because I'm not sure if I actually want to do this. So the pattern basically says like you need to decrease by 2 times 3, 2 times 2, 2 times 2, and 2 times 2. So that's kind of what I've done, except I need to do that on here as well. I can see that I'm row short. I'm a row short, so we still need another row. Okay, cool. But I mean, it's very like, it's quite boxy, right? This is a bit better because of the slip stitches and the stacked singles. But this looks like really like lettered, if that makes sense. That said, once, and this will be like sewn together with the front pieces. And of course, at some stage, I will do single crochets around the edge with this thicker yarn. And maybe that will kind of cover up for the boxier look. But I'm being like, wouldn't it have been nicer to just like do some decreases, like crocheting 2 stitches together and being it more like. And now I'm in doubt. Like, should I just keep faith and follow the pattern? Or should I listen to myself? Because I think what it is if I do crochet stitches together, I can't make it as quickly in. The only way to do that would be to cut the yarn, basically to move it over, which would give the same issue. So I'm happy I didn't do that. But it feels like, if that makes sense, that I somehow, like, I don't know. I think I maybe just need to trust the process. It's the back piece. And so this is like, you know, where my arm gaps are going to be on the back side. Yeah, I probably just need to trust the process here. And this is what we got left of the skein. It's a bit floppy. I probably need to trust the process, shouldn't I? I should. Poor. Yeah. That's what I think I should. So I'm kind of a little bit stuck. I think I need to trust the process, if you guys understand me. So that's what I've done on this. And then, of course, let's just keep track on this. Put it aside. And then I've been working on the hat collector shawl, which right now is one big pile of a mess because I have so many ends I need to weave in. So we probably have to weave in ends at some stage. But we are now at a place in the pattern where I need to do another of these. You know, there are these where we double crochet, chain one, skip a stitch, double crochet, chain one, etc. And I'm actually at a place like that in the pattern again where I need to do that. So it's a quick row. So I'm kind of suggestion to do that. And then we have a few ends here and there too that definitely needs to get woven in. I am on the, if I'm not wrong, yeah, I am on the, I need to check this one I changed. This one is also double-stranded, which is perfect, which means that once this cake I currently have changes color, we continue and we have a color change. So I think we are gonna work on this today, at least for a row, and then we'll have to kind of make a decision on that one. But I think I genuinely just need to follow the process. So hello. Meanwhile, Ravener says, speaking of yarn, I'm up to 15 skein use this month and 80 on the year. Holy smokes! But given I'm working with big skeins for the skull, my usage is probably gonna fall off for a bit. I think you're still cracking it off. I'm not even close. I did finish up one skein last week, but it's like on average right now it feels like a skein or two a week here and there. I do hope to get some stuff done later. So this week, as I said, Friday, I'm kind of away until Monday. So I have other videos for you guys. Like we have a yarn talk video on Friday, and we should have another sort my stash video on Monday. I just need to find a few moments to also get it recorded. So yeah, give me one moment. I just quickly have to answer a hotel. So, hello, welcome, Jessica. Jessica loves yarn. Happy to see you. As you can see, I am sitting here with a big project next to me. Apparently, the sun has decided to finally shine. So it is a little bit bright on the screen. I do apologize. I am debating if I should maybe see if I can. The default is probably too bright, so we need to go all bright, and then we need to go back darker, which I can not see unless I'm on the screen before it's too late. Like that would probably be better. We need some contracts due to sun. So here we go. Jessica is in Canada, I assume. It's pouring hard here in Quebec, Canada. Well, here in the Netherlands, it's been grey and it has been raining a lot of times the past week. And it's feels like we've gone back to autumn. But today the sun is finally shining a bit. And this coming weekend, it's going to be like sunshine and 24 degrees. So I'm like, yay, summer is coming. I am in the Netherlands for those curious and those just joined the chat. And I'm just going to check the weather in my close proximity as of today. Hello and good afternoon, Helle. Here in Nijmegen, it's Cloudy with a temperature of 61 degrees Fahrenheit, about 16 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from southwest at 9 miles per hour, and the humidity is 57. So yeah, as I said, it is getting a bit drier, so that is kind of nice. Okay, I should also find my pattern. That just makes life a lot easier. And we are at row many. So the past row had close to 1200 stitches, or was it 1400? I don't remember anymore. A lot of stitches. I think it was like 1400 almost. I told it to my in-law this weekend, and she was like, "Holy, are you sure you want to make it bigger?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not done yet." Because I'm crazy like that. So we finished. I finished row 46 this weekend. So yesterday, last night, to be fact. And I'm just double checking if it's indeed row 46. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. It is row 46. So that means we're about to start row 47, and we have all those. Yeah, it's a little bit more like filet crochet based on the constantly kept changing stitches, so to say. As I said, we do start this row with, I do prefer instead of chains. A lot of crocheters seem to like chains, but I am absolutely not a fan of chains if I don't need them, in the sense of, to start a row, I don't think chains work up very nicely. It tends to, I would like if the chain would be 1.5 rather than 2 for double crochet, because I feel 2 or 3 often gets too long, if that makes sense. Or 2 is too little and 3 is, I don't know. It just doesn't add up for me. So what I do is that I always stack 2 single crochets to kind of make up for the start of my round when it is a chain. That is my little secret. Of course, everybody is free to do what they prefer. And I use stitch markers to kind of help me keep track of that first stitch, because when you're stacking singles, sometimes it can be a little bit iffy to find them when you get back the following row and need to work into them. In New Jersey, it's sunny. Hallelujah. It is sunny indeed, with a temperature of 72 degrees of Fahrenheit, and the wind is blowing from west-southwest at 3 miles per hour, and the humidity is 97. Rev says, I like a chain in a continuous square or a circle, but to side, I also stack singles. Yeah, I think in the circle, it very much depends on the pattern, because sometimes also, I think, I don't know. It's just like I feel my chains then are too obvious as to starting and ending points, where somehow the stacked singles feels too smooth and nicer. At least that's my opinion. That's what I like about this craft world. We can all do what we prefer. Let's see, 2 double crochets in the same stitch, which I did. 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Wow. That's like a lot, but sure, we'll do that. That's a change. That's another change. 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Not in the next stitches, but just 2 double crochets in the next stitch. And then we need to chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet. Okay. Then we'll do that until the very end of this piece. Jessica, I am working on the hat collector shawl if you are curious. And it is gonna be gorgeous. At least we're trying to make it gorgeous. Weather in Waco is 78 degrees of Fahrenheit or 26 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from south-southeast at 14 miles per hour, and the humidity is 84. I would say, Rev, that the humidity is almost low compared to what it sometimes is at your place or wherever the measuring station stands. And according to Susan, it is gonna be warm in New Jersey later today. I guess you guys also having summer hitting any minute by the sound of it. Jessica says yesterday was really hot here, then morning is raining, and she loves shawls. I also love making shawls. You will find that I have made quite a few. I've just been really, really poor at taking photos of them and listing them and stuff like that. Meanwhile, I actually have good news. Guess what? Finally, the National Post Service of the Netherlands offers a duty-paid post shipment to the US, which means I can open up my web shop for US citizens. My goodness, because it's actually possible. Uh-oh, I didn't need to chain there because I do recall the bottoms are okay. 9 times, so that's probably like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That fits. Skip 2. Yep. And then, oh, I do have a double up there. Okay, cool. No problem. So I think that's wonderful news, actually. So I need to get everything sorted and done, but I'm not sure if I will have enough time to get that all arranged this week. So that could be that that's gonna be a next week project. 3, 4. Ah, yeah, I get why it does it. Okay. I guess easy pattern. So that's awesome. So I need to really, really get cracking on. I have some shawls I really need to get blocked, and I have a bunch of product photos I need to get taken and stuff like that. Oh my goodness, things are finally progressing a bit, except I'm having too little time. At least that's how it feels like right now. I really need to get cracking on that. I think what I'm gonna do, because as I said, this coming weekend, I won't really have a lot of time to craft. So I may just bring enough yarn for me to start on a bucket hat or something like that. Because that is really gonna be, if nothing else is happening, I may be able to sit down. But my experience from these events is just that I will be busy 24/7, and if there is actually a moment where I can sit down for 10 minutes, it's more like a blessing than a curse. And then it's not always still practical if and when to have um, the crafting kit with me. So definitely, Rev, definitely. So we are getting rain tomorrow by the forecast, and then it will cool off a bit. Supposed to hit 19 degrees Fahrenheit later today. That's like in the 30s. Chilly. Rev says, let us know when you set it up. I might hit you up for some scrunchies. The wife liked the disaster one I made. It was not good as I missed a lot of stitches. She liked it for wearing overnight until the yarn broke. Oh, what I think I understand, because so the reason these scrunchies are really nice is because of the velvet type. It's quite soft to our hair, and if she indeed has long hair, then it's a good thing to like braid it for overnight and stuff. And you don't want to have rough elastics in it, or bare elastics, because that can kind of tear and rip the hair, and it makes it more like yeah, I can't really explain it. I'm not a hairdresser, but you know, the hair keeps healthier if it's soft, what it's kept together with. That's the short version of it. But I'll definitely let you know. I hope to have it up like next week, if everything goes well. I have a few things to get sorted, but Should definitely be possible. She has long curly hair, so she likes having her hair pulled back some overnight. I can understand. Generally, long hair sometimes, long hair has a tendency of getting into your face when you don't want it to. I went to the hairdressers, is that a week and a half ago now, maybe? And they took a solid couple of inches off, at least like this much. And now, like, when I'm brushing it or when I'm taking a shower, it feels like, yeah, you always use too much shampoo in the beginning and stuff like that. It's the same eternity. But I actually enjoy the fact that it's shorter because I could feel in the brushing that it was a desperate need of a haircut because it was starting to get splitty in the ends. Normal, but a normal ponytail band can danger her hair overnight. Yep, indeed they can. I will let you know as soon as I have them up. I definitely will. I have a good solid selection of colors, so there should definitely be possibilities. I saw my cousin's daughter still wearing hers, which I'd given her for Christmas last time I was home. Well, that kind of warmed my heart. When you see things you have gifted and you see them in use, it just makes you feel good, right? Like, knowing that what you have made to someone is appreciated. Oh my goodness, that's the best, basically. I have no other explanation to that except it just feels good when whatever you have made for people is actually being used. Um, but yeah, anyhow, this one is gonna go quick, I think, this row, because as I said, it is basically one double crochet, chain one double crochet, and then on the tops we do add two double crochets, chain two double crochets, but that is definitely not what is costing me the time here. It's more when I do all the repetitive double crochets in between these rows. Those are the long ones. Rev says, yeah, I want the silly things I make to get some use. If they're going to live in a closet, then I could just have kept them. Exactly. Well, I have a lot of closet items right now because I haven't just taken the time to get stuff done. I should be embarrassed. I am embarrassed, but it's also a question of priorities sometimes, and I've had it's been a rough period the last couple of months with everything happening with the travels. My energy levels has been extremely mixed as well. So there's just been lots of things going on, I guess. And I just so very much enjoy coming live and hanging out with you guys. But technically, now I do have a little time, so I should have used this little time to maybe do some other things. But can't do everything at once. So my patience is there. One, two. Susan says, I finished the tote bag from Ophelia Talks. I sent a picture. I will grab to it in just 1 second. Let me stop at a point where I can easily take a break here. And the bottom is usually the best because here I don't need to chain. Speaking of silly things, here's my progress on the cowl. We also have that one, but let's just meanwhile quickly find. Oh my goodness, I have lots of meals. Da, 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 da. Oh my goodness. These days, I really get lots of spam mail. Can't exactly say that I'm happy. Here we go. This is the bag from Ophelia Talks. And that, my friends, is made in ice yarns that I can see. Is it a cotton or is it acrylic yarn? But it looks good. The photo doesn't really clearly states what type of ice yarns it is. Except I can see that it was ice. Oh, I delete the junk mail, Susan. Don't worry. I definitely do. I get lots of junk. A lot of them is like, oh, we can get you so many more sales to your store for a certain amount of percentage. And I'm like, no, 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 just stay the fuck away. I don't need your help. I would ask for it if I wanted it. I like this. Lovely colors. Absolutely lovely colors. Meanwhile, we also have a ref photo here of his current progress of his crochet along by Joan the Yarn Addict. I would be inclined to say it is going well. And somehow now it feels, oh my god, that is a bright pink, isn't it? Holy smokies. That pink just screams. Don't tell me this is red. It is like it shows pink on my screen. It's cotton magic. Okay. Oh, I all get in the mood to get stuff from ice now. Ooh. But I should not buy yarn. I should not buy yarn. I should not buy yarn. I want to buy yarn. I should not buy yarn. Really. It's bad. I've really been itching the last few days. Really badly. But I've not. I'm a good girl still. But yeah. So yeah, it's the amount of spam mails I've started getting after setting up the Shopify store is crazy. Everybody trying to earn money on whatever you make, and I'm like, no, not needed. Not needed. And I agree with Ref. It is a pretty tight bag, Susan. There was a second link with a close-up of the cables. Did I skip that link? I might have skipped that link, Rev. I'm sorry. If you would repost, I'm happy to show. Jessica says it does not help when my best friend owns a yarn shop. I would be dead. Like, my house would likely be filled then. Like, point one, you're supporting your friend. And point two, you're getting yarn. Oh my goodness, that sounds like a living nightmare almost. Susan is my little angel on my shoulder, trying to help me not buy yarn, because I am genuinely, as said, quite tempted, and I have a yarn stash you do not want to know. It's crazy. Popping over here, we see the absolutely gorgeous cables work. in that very bright pink. Very bright pink. I love the cable work, Rev. I just wonder if personally I might have chosen a little bit less bright color for it because of the cables to kind of let the cables show better. But maybe it helps when you have done a few more rounds and I can like get more comparison. It's just because it seems very bright right now. Oh no, I'm just double crocheting along. I should be chaining in between. Oh my goodness, I'm not paying attention, ladies, gentlemen. If I don't pay attention, I'll need to frog, and I do not want to frog 1200 stitches back. No, that is like not an option. Not an option by any means. And not today. Susan says, I've been shopping my stash. I still have a skein of that cotton to use up, but it's very thin. What hook size have you been using with it? Like, if you wouldn't double strand it. It's bright scarlet. Okay, so it's like a very bright red, but to me it's pink. It looks pink on my screen. Yes, Susan says we're helping Stina shop her stash. Indeed. Actually, this is a shop my stash project, except I knew I had the yarn and I knew what project I wanted to make with the yarn, right? So this was an easy shop my stash. But the thing is, when I'm putting 3 cakes of 1,000 meters or 1,093 yards into one shawl, it is going to take a while before it's completed, especially because, I tend to work on a bunch of projects at the same time because I just can't help it. So here we go. Rose says, maybe I should have used the color I'm using for the next section, but it is done and I'm not redoing it. I won't blaming you for not redoing it because, it's a pain to redo jobs and works. But, if you enjoyed the process of this crochet along shawl, then maybe if you want to make it in the future, you could consider it differently. I have a few projects I'd like to redo in a different way or in different colors. But at the same time, I'll just also know that it's not necessarily happening anytime soon. Jessica Revenant is our blanket maker here in this live. He makes he's always busy with blanket with a very few exceptions. He generally just always make blankets. and a few beanies, but a lot of blankets. And I am impressed with the amount of skeins he can use up in a year. Like, I feel I do a lot, but the reality is, compared to some of you guys, I do nothing. And it's raining. I thought I could hear it. It just started to rain, so now it's not cloudy anymore. Now it is officially raining. Just another wet day, I guess. They are predicting chances of rain the coming days. So nothing new there either. We do have could go and see how bad it is actually maybe later. Oh, it's not too bad, but it's like, mixed shower weather as I look at it like this. Oh, that was too much in. Oh, no. Let's pop over here next to all the ads, but here is kind of the overview of the weather. So in here, la 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 la, we have the Netherlands, and I live around here, quite close to the German border. And as you can see, it's just constant drizzle, not moving very quickly, random rain scattered across the map. Hallelujah. So yeah, it is not exactly what I would call summer, but apparently sometime in between there is a sun shining. But it's gone right now because now it's just rainy. Rev says, I will say in person the cables are a lot more visible. I blame the nearly 10-year-old phone camera I'm using. Okay, that might explain it. Cameras have developed quite a bit. And also sometimes maybe, I guess, the zoom can smudge things sometimes, or if it also depends on the lighting sometimes in the room. Like if it's really strong light, then bright colors can turn very, like, especially on older cameras, they can turn really difficult to see. Even my newer camera, well, my phone is only a year and a half, but I mean, a bit more than a year and a half, but not much more than that. I can see, depending on how the light falls, sometimes that I'm like, did my phone turn 5, so to say? Right? So I can also see differences there. My phone usually just stays with me until the battery decides it's time to get replaced. And then I refuse to replace the battery, I'll just replace the phone. Because usually, once the battery is replaced, then it will definitely be time to get a new phone regardless. The next, and I caved in officially. So I ordered myself a new watch because my Fitbit decided to break down. It's no longer working. It's no longer charging for good reasons, because the charging cable is broken. Like it started tearing. It's probably a bit dangerous even to put that to power now. Definitely I wouldn't leave it alone. That's for sure. But it's not charging either when placed in the charger. Because it's just broken. It's just dead now. But that said, that watch is like almost 10 years old. It's probably, I think I bought it in 2017, 19 maybe. No, 18, 17 or 18. Then it's less. 8 years old. 8 years for sure. So I guess it's fair enough that it eventually just dies. So I have gone ahead and I have invested in a smartwatch, which I received today. I bought an iWatch to match the iPhone and the iPad and the MacBook I have from work and all the Apple stuff. Not necessarily being a massive Apple fan, but it just makes sense because I have Apple. It works together, it speaks together, and the iWatch has a lot of nifty things. So I bought an 11 series in titanium. And I haven't, well, technically I just received it. That was what got delayed in the post and why I was delayed here live. But I got a really good deal on it. The deal was that, like, I really checked around various places and where to buy it. And I could save 182 euros from buying it from a specific place, which was cheaper than the official Apple Store itself. So I was like, yeah, well, you're gonna be mine. And then I bought it. And we're gonna play with that later. And then the next I'll probably need to invest in would be eventually a new iPad because it's from 2017 and it's starting to say that it's getting old. But it's not like imminent, it's not urgent. It's still working, but it is slowly having its own challenges. So yeah, let's see how long that next item will survive, and then eventually it dies, and then it's time to get replaced. That's usually how it goes. Hello, Anna Helena says greetings from Poland. Hello, I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to the live. We are various peoples here from across the globe. I am in the Netherlands. Revenant is in Texas in the States. Susan is New Jersey. We have Jessica, who is in Quebec in Canada. When Lisa gets around, she's also in Canada. She's from Winkler. So people eventually come around and say hello. I love seeing new people. You know, the good thing about new people is that I will eventually have to host that giveaway on Ravelry, right? Because, as I said, I will give away a free pattern on Ravelry based on your wish list within reasonable amounts. When I hit 2,000 subscribers. So, have your friends subscribe. I will do that during a live. Last time when we gave away free patterns to Ravelry was during my podiversary about 3 weeks ago. 2.5 technically. And that was nice. We had 2 people being really, really happy with their new pattern. So, would like to do that. And yeah. Hello, Dal's Photography Daniela. Good morning. Greetings from Uruguay. Just started watching. It is early down here. Oh my goodness, Uruguay. I think that's a first I've ever had one from Uruguay. That is in the South Americas. Wonderful to have you with us. I believe Malabrigo Yarns is from Uruguay, together with Manos del something. Now I feel like shopping yarn again. Oh my goodness. I mean, who wouldn't want a bit of Rios yarn? Hand colored. Yes, please. I skipped a stitch. So, not I skipped a stitch, but I did an extra chain, which I shouldn't do. So we fracked the chain, and now we skip the 2 stitches. It's always nice to meet and greet new people from around the world. We are global and we love hanging out and we love helping. So are you guys working on anything specific right now today, or are you just hanging out and listening while preparing for work or waking up, grabbing your breakfast, whatnot? I already did my work today. Daniela says, thank you. Was watching your lettering issue at the beginning. I don't like those letterings as well. I don't either, and I'm not really sure how to approach it. Will I just instead decrease extra stitches across the whole piece? Or I'm tempted to frog and do that, to be honest. But I'm just not sure if it will bring what I need. The benefit is of the pattern, that pattern is I have a quite thick yarn that will be used as a border around, so that might help cover the lettering. So I'm really I'm at a yeah, I'm challenged. Ideally, I would like to stack a treble, and then the following stitches I'd like to work together multiple stitches in case. That would be kind of nice. But that would make the whole thingy a bit later based on um, making room for the sleeves. It could work maybe, but it would happen all so much later. I'm not sure. I'm not sold. Sarah says, "Good morning. I'm working on a blanket for my nephew. Your shawl is coming out along beautifully. Thank you. It's definitely becoming a lot bigger. You know, we calculated Friday that this past row I just did, this doesn't really include because there's a lot of chains, but this past row is like 1400 stitches. I'm like, I do not want to frock that. Daniela says, I would frock and make one each round. You mean a decrease each round? That is gonna take it in too slow compared to what the pattern dictates, I guess, because that's a challenge. The pattern says that I need to decrease 3 in each side. So what I'm thinking I could do is that I could, but yeah, it's gonna be late, so it's gonna go slower going in. That's a challenge, right? Because of the or wait a second. I have an idea. I actually have a good idea. Ding! Try right now. You need to imagine the cartoon with this light bulb popping up on top of my head, being like, yes, I have an idea. And I'm going to show you guys before I forget. And I think that is going to be the freaking solution to my conundrum. Let's grab it back here. So for those late joiners, I'm working on the back piece of our vest. And we have a so-called quote unquote a lettering issue that the decrease here states take in each side 3, 2, 2, and then I need to do one more row. I need to decrease by 2 another here. Except first I need to do a single crochet all the way along, and then on the other side I do 2 slip stitches, and then I'll stack and blah blah blah. But it's treble crochets. So what I would do now, I think I'm going to frock back, yes, but it would be like, let's see, because it's over here. So it's a treble, then it's a double, then it's a single. So at slip stitch 1, I'll do a stack single, stack single, so to say, a double, and the treble. So that will go much smoother. And then obviously when I end, I will have to do the same. The problem is then I would definitely need to cut the yarn to begin the next row. That sucks. Or I take a new yarn, but then I'm still cutting yarn project. Oh, that was a great idea until I figured out how to kind of move on forward from there. That's a less of a challenge. That's more of a challenge. But what we do need to not forget. So these sides will be sewn together with the. I'm going to make 2 front panel pieces for on the chest. But the edges then are going to be crocheted together with this thicker yarn. It's the double thickness of this yarn. So it's going to have like an edge of this thicker yarn, which is also a bit darker in color, all the way around the edge once done. So that's why I'm a bit debating. Maybe the lettering isn't a big issue as I make it feel sound like, because, you know, I'm going to have this bordering around up here. So maybe the lettering isn't that bad. I thought I had an idea, but now I'm not sure if that idea is that good either. For crying out loud. I don't know. Feel free to come with your suggestions. I would really hate to having to cut and weave in every row. Well, every second row, because the chain one's back is the same amount of stitches, but still. I don't know. Thoughts? Frog back and try that, maybe? Could also be I just start on the two front pieces and see how they work up. Also not impossible. Choices, choices, choices. Life is full of them. Not always the easiest. Oh my goodness. And I need to keep track of all this shawl. We do have a change of yarn or skein from the previous row. That is why we have all these strands right here. I am going to see if I can. As I said, I do tend to give them a little bow tie because it helps me keep track of the yarn, because I don't want to weave in those ends yet. Oh, that doesn't look good. Because if I weave in those ends too soon, then that can cause a whole different level of mess. And weaving them in too soon is, if I make a mistake and I need to frog back past that, then I can't, because, well, I made a mess of it. I'm not making any arms. It is a vest, so it's a sleeveless vest. It's a sleeveless vest. Will you make the first round of single crochets when starting the arm? Nope, nope, no single crochets there. So the rows are treble crochet and then a single crochet when you crochet back, so back and forth. So the repeat is 1 row treble crochet, 1 row single crochet, and then on the treble crochet rows is when you decrease. If that helps anything. And then it's a vest. I will there's a link to the pattern description box down below. I am using a different yarn than the hobby yarns. I can find the photo of it if you just hang on for a minute. Popping over here. Of course, the pattern reads like hell, but that's kind of the idea of it. So no arms, it's just a vest. 100% vest. Yay! So what happened here with these stitches? So that's a stitch. That's supposed to be a stitch, but it looks like a disaster happened. Controlled. So that's kind of what's going on here. That is going to be the end result, except I have different colors than these brown ones. And the suggested yarns are 100% wool, and I find drops of snow a bit itchy. The crisp map, I don't know, but it's a bit itchy to me, and that's not what I want, so I ended up going just for acrylics to keep it simple. I found yarns that would match, but I could have optioned for merino, and I might option for merino if I make it in the future. But I'm just wondering if that's worth it, because, you know, if I increase the stitches height one by one, that could work maybe. Oh. It has a small ribbing. Well, yeah, it's a single crochet row around. You know, the edges has a single crochet row around them. And that's in the thicker yarn. So that's why I'm wondering if that will cover the lettering. It's also, you may have noticed I didn't weave in the ends yet, even though I could safely have done so, but it's because I'm not completely sold on it. That said, if I do end up, if I don't know if that could work, the lettering, or fix the lettering, so to say. It would fix the lettering for sure, but it would definitely require me, or I will have to slip stitch back up, which I guess I also could, because it is gonna come a border on top. I mean, if I do like single crochet, double crochet, treble crochet, right, that would kind of fix the lettering issue. And on the other side, I will then, instead of just stopping and reverting the round for quote decrease, I would then do double crochet, single crochet. But then to get back up on top of those trebles to do the single crochets across, I could slip stitch, because I'm already slip stitching on one side. So that doesn't change. Plus afterwards, I will have to work the thicker yarn, and that might still work. I might go ahead with that, which means I'm gonna frock half a skein. Could be worse. Those skeins are only 100 meters, but you know, like, it's the annoyance of having to frock stuff you did. But I'm actually inclined to think that might be a good idea, because of slowly increasing the height in stitches instead. That will make it much nicer, like, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. Now, some people would start advocating for me not to frock that project, and others would say, yeah, go ahead, frock it, frock it. We can think. As I said, we are gonna crack on this row right now and see how far we get. Also, don't forget your drinks. If you haven't had anything to drink yet, grab one, and don't forget to hydrate, because we are all too poor at that, especially when we are crafting. I tend to just yabble along for 3 hours with you guys. But yeah, we all aren't good enough at drinking. For me, that is still my lemonade. My lemonade is almost done. Then we can start on my tea. My tea is also, when I look at the clock, it should have cooled by now. It's an hour ago I made it. So that should slowly be well, I think. I'd be sorry if otherwise. I'm also not sure what my neighbors are doing today, because they are having some handy workers in their driveway, and they're like sawing things to size and stuff like that. So they're renovating something in their home. I don't know what, but it does make some noise. So if you sometimes hear this like sawing sound, then it's at my neighbors. I should taste my Darjeeling tea. It is drinkable. That's awesome. That means that once I've finished that lemonade, I can go ahead with the Darjeeling. Woohoo! You're looking for a curve on the arm, but with a thicker wool, I guess nothing would be seen later. That's the thing, right? And indeed, you're looking for a bit of a curve, because it's gonna be on the back side. And you're still gonna get front panels. So yeah, maybe it won't be seen later. Yeah. Choices. But I'm actually inclined to think that it could be done better. With a much less lettering effect. Sarah's working on coffee and water. Good plan. Coffee and water sounds better than no hydration at all. Rev says you can frock it if you want to. You can rip those stitches out, cause if the look ain't right, there is no use to fight. Exactly. Or the feeling of not using. I'm just not. The problem is I'm not sure if what I think of would work, but I think it would work actually. Because if I then slip stitch back on top, I don't need to sew in ends, and that will definitely be covered by the thing around afterwards. I think we have yeah, we'll have to frock it. And Daniela is knitting her grandson a vest. Oh, that's nice. Rev isn't sure if the rhyme scheme worked for it. Well, the rhyme's better than what I would. I am not a poet by any means. By any means, I am not a poet. That I gave up many years ago, just as well as I am not a singer. I am very good at singing when I'm alone and in the shower, but I'm very horrible at singing when doing that in public. Um, I would definitely need some singing classes. I was meant to be to the general gist of Safety Dance by Men Without Hats. Ah. We watched, Susan, are you still here? We watched the movie you recommended Saturday night. We watched the Remarkably Bright Creatures on Netflix. It was it was a nice movie. So I thank you heaps for the recommendation. That was a really nice one. Yeah, I do have them doubles. I appreciate so much to be today here. It is hard to find some kind of home TV community to hang out while knitting. Well, that's kind of what we are. I try to be live twice a week. On this, it's a morning time for you, so you will have to be up and early in the bright to shine. For me, it's afternoon, and I'm gonna be around for the next 1.5 hour ish, a little bit more, 1 hour 40 minutes. And yeah, I tend to do so. This week I'll be live today and Wednesday. Next week it's gonna be Wednesday, Friday. So I'm always live on the Wednesdays. And then it's either Friday or Monday, depending on the week, because that depends on the schedule, for my other real life obligations. Yay. I also have those because I also work. So I get live when I've finished my daily chores and work for my boss, and before I need to start cooking dinner for the evening. Right now, here in the Netherlands, it is 20 minutes past 3 in the afternoon, and I tend to end my lives at 5 p.m., plus minus a few minutes. Usually, it's always plus a few because we say goodbyes and so on. And what is so wonderful about this community here and this group of people we have here in this life is that we all help each other out the best way possible. That means that sometimes we have questions, what color is best, or what should I do, and stuff like that. Um, and other times we just gather inspiration, like, okay, I want to crochet a shawl, or I want to knit a hat, or whatever. Do you have any good patterns you would like to suggest me, or something like that, right? So we have a really, really lovely group of people, and it is very, how can I say this? I think we're a tight knit group these days. I am wondering though where Lisa is staying because she is usually popping around this time as well, but maybe she's busy. But it is also early for Lisa. Lisa is, I believe, Central Time, so it's probably getting to like 8 a.m. Maybe she's sending off kids to school and then she's coming on. And no, I'm really appreciate. I think I'd seen the trailer and I had been wondering, being like, oh, that could be a nice movie to watch. But the fact that it was out, I guess I had missed. So I put it on the playlist as soon as you said about it, and we watched it Saturday evening, and it was really really nice. It was actually quite beautiful movie, I think. So yep, if you have Netflix and you have not yet watched Remarkably Bright Creatures, it's actually a very nice story. It's a sweet story, and it's a good story. So I would say go watch it. Actually, I almost cried, but okay, I can cry about everything in a movie. I was washing off my deck outside. Birds poop everywhere. Oh no. Well, we have inherited like a container or a holder for bird feed from my in-laws, because she's like, yeah, I don't really have room for it, so we got it, and it's been on our table, and she's been complaining, I don't have room for it, and no birds ever come and eat. And um, my partner figured out my mom-in-law had put the bird balls in the wrong container, so the room where bird gets their beaks in is just too small for them to eat it. And henceforth he moved it to the right ones, and it's just been standing on our table. And now the birds figured out what it is, and we regularly have European blue tits coming to eat from it in the evening. Pigeons as well, ring pigeons. Yeah, so we do have birds now. But we haven't really hung it up, which we should, but it's just on the garden table. Russ says we are kind and tolerant and accepting of anyone else who is kind and tolerant. Yes, and who loves to do some sort of craft. We don't diverse if it's knitting or crocheting. Some of us only knit, some of us only crochet, and some of us do both. I am getting better at knitting, but I mainly crochet. Most of my things are crochet, but I can knit. I can do knit and purl stitches, and my next challenge is that I want to start learning cables. So that is pending. Pending due that Stine is going to learn to knit cables. And as said, it is very much a coming project for the summer or something. I don't know. In May, it's 100% sure no chance of it because I don't have time. But maybe I'll. That's not a bad idea actually to bring home, because if I need help understanding cables, then maybe I need to bring it home when I'm visiting my parents, because then my mom can help me. My mom is my little oracle when I really go stump and I don't know how to fix stuff or do stuff. Mom is my go-to. She is my knowledge center. Um, and apparently she's also my auntie's knowledge center, and everybody else. If somebody get stuck in their crafting project, whether it's knit or crochet, they end up asking my mom for help, because she may be able to read the pattern that they figured out not to. And she's also my help. But hey, that's different. It's my mom. Your mom is always like your go-to, right? As long as she lives. Megan loves listening while she's at work. And Susan is asking if my partner also liked the movie. I think he did. He watched it the whole way, and we both agreed, that it was nice. So yeah, I would say he did. Daniela says, generally morning is great for me. Hubby goes out early and I can be here for a while. It is 10:20 down here. 10:20. So you are 5 hours behind me. I usually start around 2, which would be like 9 a.m. your time when I go live. So I'll be here on Monday as well. Susan says it is 9:22 a.m. East Coast USA, and it's 8:24 in Texas. Well, a bit later now, obviously, because I'm catching up on chat right now. Susan says I'm still knitting on my 2 sleeves from the 2024 sweater VIP. Well, better late than never. I hope they're making good progress now, Susan, because I feel that you have an itch to now really get them done. Daniela says I'm trying to understand how to do my sweater too because I have a big breast. Yeah, well, I can relate. Mine isn't as big as others. But, you know, I'm still the person that I can't just go to the classic clothing store and get my bras. I will need to go to a lingerie store because else the cups does not match my need. And for clothing, I like either loose fit or, in any case, a wide leg, boot cut leg fit, preferably wide loose fit, because I also have quite some hips. And I don't have, like, my waist is usually a lot narrower than the rest. That said, I do need to drop a little weight. That would be good for me. I'm working on it. Sunday, I had a bike ride. I did a bike ride of 18 kilometers. So, hey, which is like a bit more than 10 miles. Or around 10 miles. I'm happy. I'm not talking Swedish miles, by the way. Rev wants to take up knitting at some point, but he's still learning to crochet. Well, you are very good at crocheting so far, I would say. Susan says, awesome, Rev. Knitting makes beautiful fabric, generally less bumpy than crochet. Yeah, you can definitely make thinner fabrics knitting compared to crochet. Crochet does tend to get a bit thicker, generally speaking, compared to knitting, for sure. Megan says knitting seems so intimidating. I agree that knit fabric is beautiful. Megan, yes. And it's very intimidating when you see the many, many point stitches, like the double point needles, and they're like working in the round. So you have like 4 needles, and actually technically you have 5 you need to keep track of. That, my friend, is super intimidating to me. So, and I really have to say what I like about crochet is the fact I have 1 piece I need to keep track of. But I've slowly come to the conclusion knitting isn't that bad, especially when I'm able to knit in the round and circular needles. That's kind of made it a lot less intimidating for me as it used to be. So I'm slowly going there. So I've done a cowl and I've done definitely a couple of hats lately, or beanies. So beanies is my thing. I can definitely knit beanies now. And I'm even thinking on designing some knitting patterns. I know this sounds crazy for one that's just started to knit, but I have ideas for beanies that I'd like to try to execute. But I am not yet able to execute. That's a time question, I guess, also. Rev prefers knit hats. Yeah. I think also knit hats, Rev, with crochet hats, they're less stretchy compared to knit hats. So they get I think knit hats get us more snug fit without looking stretched, if that makes sense. Susan says, I like knitting because all the stitches stay on the needle, so it's easy to count. I guess you could say so, yeah. But it's also a lot of stitches to keep track on. Like, I would not want to have all of these stitches on a pair of needles, I can tell you for sure. I also have a shawl I want to knit, so that's probably my next challenging project. Which I should start probably next month, maybe. Rev, try the rip knit beanie that Passionate Kelsey makes. Her tutorial is good. I think it is a nice tutorial she has. And she also have the continental way of knitting, which means that like a lot of, I think English knitting is like that they throw the yarn around, like so they don't hold the yarn as we do with crocheting. So they would be knitting and then they would take and use the right hand if you have like working from to the right hand, if you're right-handed. They would like kind of cast over the yarn or throw the yarn over, which to me seems like that has to take more time to knit. Like, when I see people do that, I get like puzzled. And I guess for me it's easy to do the continental because I guess that's what I was taught and it makes sense when you crochet. So when you decide it's time to grab knitting needles and get started, I would warmly recommend you to enter the continental way of knitting or study that way of doing it. And I do actually believe that Kelsey also does the continental knitting, if I'm not wrong. Danielle says, Susan, knitting has on two needles has benefits for our neck and back and hands as well. True. And Rev says that will probably be his first project. My stomach is grumpy. I'm gonna finish up my lemonade in a second. And then it's tea time. I started with knitting first, now learning to crochet, but not good for arthrosis with my thumbs. By the way, my admiration for that shawl, I don't know if I would ever had the patience. Well, it's a patience project for sure. It is definitely a patience project. Because as I said, it's 3,000 meters of yarn I'm gonna throw into this. So yeah, that takes time. I think, Daniela, you need to look into projects that doesn't require like to size down a needle size, because if you use too small needle compared to what the yarn calls for, it takes, especially if you do it with cotton, it does take more force of your hands and fingers to do so. So if you do have arthritis, I would recommend you to find a project that requires a bit less strong tension. For example, a shawl would work up nice. That could work up just fine. But when you try to, like, for example, a couple of weeks ago, I made this amigurumi and I had to size down quite a bit from what I normally would use. I would normally use 4.5 millimeter, and I think I used 3.25 or 3 millimeter instead. And that really takes much more on your fingers. So I'd recommend you to something that will cause it to be very drapey. So you may need to upsize the hook, and that could maybe work a bit better for fingers with arthritis, I could imagine. It also kind of depends on the hooks you have. Some hooks you just work better with than others. So if you have friends who's in the crafty world, I would recommend you to ask if you could try their hooks. just to see if they may have different hooks than you and if they might feel better for you. Oh yeah, big hook, thick yarn, big stitches gets projects done quick. That's true as well. That is definitely true as well. Do you have a few amigurumis I'd like to get made at some stage? Mm-mm-mm. 6 weight yarn and a 9mm hook will get a big project down fast. Yeah. I don't think I've ever done that though. Well, no, that's not true. On my channel you will find some oh, what is it called? It's like tape yarn-ish, t-shirt yarn, ribbon yarn. And a couple of years ago, it's at least 2 years by now, if not 3, I made some bread baskets. I also documented the process as well. So there is a video on that on my YouTube. And we are still using those as of today, using them last time this weekend. So when we do eat breads together, bake off breads from the bakery, buns, etc. That's the last one I made, I think, in a bigger hook, like really big hook size wise. Daniela says, thank you. Yes, finally found tulip hooks down here. There are not others available in this country, and arthrosis is complicated because it's my bone damaged jug, and I still knit. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's not easy. That is where you need to find people who might be able to ship you some as alternative option. Many years ago, again, many years ago, it's not that far, 2 or 3 years ago, I had a giveaway that was won by a player by a person in, where was that again? I need to find Google Maps. Because it was over in, I think I sent it to Costa Rica, if I'm not wrong. But I never heard from her, so I hope she received it. It was a weird address, at least. Like, it was really difficult to ship. My postal service was like, are you sure you want to ship it to this address? We don't recognize this address. And I was like, it is an address. That's what I was forwarded. You know, like the red door across to whatever. It was weird. Like, I was like, it really felt third world. I hope she received it. I never heard she didn't, so. I do believe that, yeah, it was Costa Rica. It was far away. Mm-mm-mm. And now the sun is shining again. I told you guys, it's like, well, I guess it's more like spring than autumn, but it's like rain shower day. It rains and then sun shines, and then it rains and then the sun shines. It's just one of those days, I guess. But at least the sun shines a bit again. Like, I swear to you, the last few days last week was just all grey. All grey. All grey and sad. One, two. Meanwhile, I will tell you something good. Because we broke the magic 1680 subscribers. That means that there is now 320 subscribers until that we will gift away a pattern from Ravelry. So if you do use your Ravelry and have a wish list, in 320 subscribers, we will be gifting a pattern away. Da-da. Maybe it will happen this year. Who knows? Depends. If you have other people you think would benefit from that, you think would find it very nice to hang out with us, don't forget to share this live and have them subscribe. I can slowly see also the new color on this cake. Ooh. That's actually quite nice too. That's crazy. My stomach is really telling it's hungry, but I did feed it today. Like, it both had breakfast and lunch. But right now it seems to heavily disagree. Ah, my goodness. So if you hear some grumpy sounds, it's just my stomach. I do apologize. It is said that means that the intestines are then busy. What do you guys have planned for dinner today? Here we are on the leftover truck, which means that we are eating leftovers from yesterday. I made spaghetti bolognese yesterday, and that is what we are going to have tonight. We are going to have day 2, basically. Every time I make spaghetti bolognese, there's always like 2 days in the pot. Not like I make extremely much of it, but it just happens to be a 2-day thing. And henceforth, that is what we will be having. When you're just 2 people household, it is always cheaper to cook for 4 days, depending on what you're cooking, obviously, than it is to cook for 1. At least here in the Netherlands, that's how it's working out. Oh, Rev, I want to come and visit. He says I'm making my usual Monday dinner, the oven roasted potatoes, veggies, and sausage. I really want to come along and say hello. Oh. Mm-mm-mm. Dun, 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 dun. We still haven't gotten to the second side yet, and this feels like it's taking forever, but we're almost there. Haha! You're almost to the tip now. I am scared sometimes on how long this really takes. I was watching a bit of telly when I was working on the other row as well this weekend. Had to. I agree with Daniela. It sounds really nice. I want pot roast too. Can I please have pot roast? I should make it though then. I do apologize for the yawns as well. Skip blah blah blah. Skip 3. That matches with the rest. So that is just a repeat of what we're used to. That is nice and easy. So here we have the tip. So now I've like from this, then I've done like the first half side of the shawl. I hope that gives you a bit of an impression on how many stitches there is. I mean, I don't feel I'm a slow crocheter, but when I'm sitting working on this particular shawl, I feel insanely slow. I'm just gonna check. There's also 2 and also 2. Okay. Danielle says, I would love to know how you started the shawl project. Looks so nice. I started with a chain. Let me get a stitch marker and try to explain. Obviously, I can't explain everything or know the amount of stitches, etc., because it is not my pattern, so it is not mine to share. There is a link to the pattern on Ravelry should you ever want to challenge it. But in short, here in the heart, there is a chain. And in that chain, I worked in double crochets. And I added some extra and I skipped some stitches to kind of help make the heart shape. So basically, you like increased and decreased. So here you have some decreases. And here you have some increases as well as you have around the heart shape have some increases. This heart will look much nicer once it's blocked. Right now, it just curls. That's just how it is. Part of it is, I think, also due to the last row of single crochets. Even though I was really trying to do them loose, they want to curl. Once I had done this heart, there is actually even a live where I'm doing it. So if you have any other mornings where you just feel like listening to us rambling along, you need to go back towards my lives and the end of February, I think. That's when I started, and I was actually doing this heart on this live. And then after that, I started by adding the yarn based on the amount of stitches on the side, and then I just, work back and forth. I don't remember which side I started on, but I would incline to say this looks like my starting point. No, well, it's stacked. But did I actually chain those? I don't know. I can't even see that. But, so that means that's awesome. But I mean, I added either one or the other, and I just basically started on the cake. I am changing color every time the cake changes color. Let's see, where am I actually working at right now? I'm down here. But I have a cake. I have 3 of them. So I have 3 of the same cakes. Of these cakes. Originally 1,000 meters on them. And every time there's a color change, and you can actually see one right here happening, because this piece is lighter and this piece is darker. It's very difficult right here. It was much more clear when I was going from the Mauve before it like changed to the flamingo here. Right now, the dark of these 2 colors, because it's 4 strand and every approximately 100 meters, roughly estimate, one of the strand changes color to a brighter color. And every time that happens, I'll cut the yarn and take the next cake and add on, so I can get a longer transitioning shawl. And that's because I know this shawl calls for 3,000 meters. Yeah, so it gets to be this like sort of wavy shawl. I will show once I am done For today, I tend to show the progress of the day. But yeah, it is long. Some lots of stitches, lots of yarn, and we keep cracking on. No wonder with 1400 plus stitches. I definitely would not want to sit with 1400 stitches and a pair of knitting needles right now. Yep, I did it on the stream a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, approximately probably like 2 months by now, but it's there. I could maybe, if I pop to my back end studio, I could maybe grab a link to it and share. But they are still set. I do recommend yeah. Time to start the Heart Collector Shawl, so that must be that, which was back on the 18th of February. Let's see if I can actually, can I? Yeah, grab link for sharing. To the shawl itself and the pattern, there is a link in the description box down below to Ravelry, where it can be bought. It is around 10 euros / 10 USD, maybe plus minus a bit depending on exchange rate. For a pattern this size, and given that it is like every round is more or less different, like there is sense to the madness, but I think it is a very nice pattern and it works up very nicely, and I definitely think it's a good investment. And the pattern is reasonably well written. It does take time to go through because it is a shit ton of pages, literally. It's like 50 plus rows pattern, but it increases quite rapidly, and that is why it fringes so much. So here it looks very much like it's just pointy, but the increases are quicker than the actual size, and therefore it gets more like curly, if that makes sense. Wavy. And my chat got set to tap chat and freaking YouTube. I'm not. I don't want to see all messages. Well, Rev, mine also randomly goes back to top chat once in a while, and for me, it's also very handy to be able to see all messages. As long as right now we are like 9 people here on the stream, which is absolutely wonderful. But it also means that we are not so many that I can't read all the chats because I can sometimes just take a bit of time to catch up on all. But it's not practical when half get hit due to the top chat setting on YouTube. I'm not really sure why that happens sometimes. It's annoying. And thank you. It is a gorgeous project, I have to say. I am very pleased so far with how this is working out. I may do a future one, but in a smaller size, I'd imagine. The color choice work is very clever. Yeah, and it takes time because of all the ends I get to weave in. But once this color change happens, I don't have this end to weave in because I have already gone through the other 2 cakes I have. So here I will just stay on the color change and keep working as it changes. So every 2 cakes, so to say, I have to weave in ends, and on the 3rd, I can get to crack on with the next color. That is how I've found work best for the least ends to weave in. I first considered the thought of breaking up all of them and cutting the yarn and making a bunch of small balls, so to say. And I'm really happy I didn't, because I'm able to work from the outside of the cake, so I have it on the spindle, and then just only have to cut when I need to do the color changes when I still have cakes that haven't had the color change finished yet, so to say. Daniela says, yeah, and I love that increasing for a skirt. Yeah, that would be really wonderful for a skirt. It is a shawl though, but I agree that could be like a really like a twisty skirt. Like, ooh, that would be gorgeous. I have seen like they have this like sort of fairy dress, also in similar yarns, made for children, and that, my friends, has really tempted me to make at some stage. That I think would be gorgeous. Yep, I did do doubles. TLDR, huge rant about tech companies making so-called improvements that make the product worse. I'll spare you for the profanities and blasphemous riddled condemnation of them and their houses. Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, yeah. That's the rant I had about my boss, I guess, 2 years ago. Around this time, 2 years ago, I was not a happy camper in my employment. And I'm so happy I have another job today. Oh my goodness. Well, I enjoyed the job itself, so to say, as in the tasks I had to do and stuff. It was okay. It was challenging me enough to kind of like, it was okay. But I absolutely hate the micromanagement. And then when they decided to launch an app that just didn't have half the functions required for the system, that kind of made it so not fun to work there. The CEO also ended up getting fired 9 months later. So somebody made a really piss poor decision. Susan says, here's the secret, Riff. Buy stock in those companies. You mean like when they rise again, Susan? That's for when they rise again. Oh my goodness. Oh. That said, I am a person of interest in the sense of the investing world when it comes to stocks and stuff like that, but it's not like something I talk a bunch about. Um, Another secret is buying the companies big tech firms do business with. Yeah. Microchips seems to be the thing, but the problem is just the stocks are sky high at the moment, so I'm not sure if it's really worth it. And then we are back to these IT bubbles and tech bubbles. Is it really like it's a challenge to really time the market? You need to have a really, really good feeling on that, right? I have a few stocks that I'm definitely following. I do have a few stocks that I have stocks in. A very good example of a very common consumer staple is I do have some stocks in Coca-Cola. Um, and I got them when Coca-Cola had a very, very attractive valuation. Um, but the problem is right now they don't. Not for what they're giving back. So my best profit on Coca-Cola right now would actually be to sell the stocks because they are up in like 70 some odd dollars right now, and I got them at 50, maybe back when they were in the 50s, I think. Or had it dipped down below 50? I don't remember. It's a while ago. It's a couple of years ago. 3 years ago. But I mean, oh my goodness, it's gone to the 80s? Holy crap. Well, thank you. But I mean, so right now Coca-Cola is worth $81.08 per share. And I got them at 53, right? So it's almost a gain of 47%. It's a good consumer staple, and I have it for other reasons. You know, it's something. One of the reasons I have them is because when we do drink cola in this house, we drink Coca-Cola and not Pepsi. Then it makes sense to kind of have stocks in whatever I drink. But I mean, I wouldn't buy them at this price. I don't think the valuation is this. I think it's expensive right now. But if it would drop to mid 50s, I would likely buy more. Bless the Maker and his water, bless the coming and going of him. May his passage cleanse the world, may he keep the word for his people. My count is on this curl is still correct, and I do not need to frog. Awesome! We all need happy when we don't need to frog. So far, I haven't needed to frog for the last couple of rows, which I'm happy about. But I've had rows here where I've had to frog, which I've been less happy about. I mean, frogging a row back when you have like 800 stitches is just not fun. But yeah, that was just like a quick fun thing. But as I said, I absolutely refuse paying $81 a share for Coca-Cola. I don't think it's worth that. Chances of anyone knowing is that low. Yeah, it is true. There was a recent movie, I cannot recall if it was included in it. Oh, could be. Could be. Oh. But yeah, there's randoms ups and downs today looking at the market. But what I genuinely wanted to grab, yeah. I don't have the cash for it yet unless I sell something. So, and I don't feel like selling. But I guess I could beneficial sell the Coca-Cola ones if I believe that at some stage they may decrease in value, which they likely will. But will they go that far down? I don't know. That's the eternal gamble of having stocks. It's not like I have a lot of them though. But to be less cryptic, that is from Frank Herbert's June. It's a prayer to the Shahi Hulud and the sandworm to the god of Freeman. Aha. Well, I have seen part of Dune, but I have not kind of like seen it all, I guess. Did they make a season 2 on HBO? Or so are we talking about the movie or the series? Because I also seen there was been two of them. There's been a movie and there's been a series, right? And I've definitely watched the series on HBO when I had access to HBO. And I am debating on getting access to HBO again because they have a few things I'd like to watch. And then I'll probably do like a month or two, and then you'll nicely cancel, and you get an offer to get something for cheaper or whatever. And then after that, I'll just fully cancel. That would be normally my approach. but I do at some stage need to probably get it, because I think there's 3 or 4 series I'd like to watch. So, but because I know I've been busy the last couple of months, I've not done it yet. So it's probably going to be June. There was a series on the Sci-Fi back in the early 2000s that was actually fairly book accurate. I'm not sure if there is a new series. There's a newer series on HBO. If it's book accurate, I don't know because I didn't read the books. I must admit I haven't read that many books for the past few years. I used to read a lot of books prior 10 years ago, but I definitely don't read as many books as I used to. Sometimes I'm thinking maybe I should again. I'd love to read The Wheel of Time. And I am very disappointed in Prime for having discontinued the series. Rose says, never mind, I did find the new series. This new series on HBO that I know from June. It is set a few thousand years before the movies. Ah, okay. But I think the challenge of any books turning into either series or movies, generally, I am much more a fan of them turning books into series than into movies. And the reason for this is that I think when they're trying to turn a book into a 2-hour movie or 2.5-hour movie, they can't get all the details accurately in, whereas series often, I think, end up much more accurate to the books. Not always the case, because apparently the movie that I recommend, or the series I recommended to you guys, if you would watch Netflix and like the good creamy, then that's definitely not book accurate because apparently a person dies that's not dead in the book, which I'm like, The Wheel of Time is my favorite books ever, Rose says. I've read every book at least 7 times. Oh my goodness. So I really should read the books, you say? Because genuinely, I'm not going to get the end result of the story because Prime skipped it after season 3. And I thought it was freaking amazing. I should probably just get the books and read them. Yay for a wishlist project for birthday or Christmas. I'd like to get them in English if I do get them, though. Daniela says, I don't read nowadays as I'm knitting a lot. Yeah, it is impractical to read when we craft. That is why I watch TV. Or not TV. I do watch series and stuff like that in the background. Unless, guys, I'm hanging out with you guys. But I mean, like, if I sit and watch a series, I would definitely knit to it, something like that. I binge watched all of episodes of Bones while crocheting, mainly on the Fleur, right? When I was doing that huge mosaic blanket last year. I will say Prime has series had very little to do with the books. Good to know. I'm still a quite keen book reader when I just need to have more times for it. Audiobooks are good for crafting. That is probably what we need to look into. Megan Ruff, I can only say one thing here. Great minds think alike. So, but yeah, audiobooks might be the road. You would need to enjoy how the audiobooks is spoken in. I don't know. Would that be would the Wheel of Time maybe even be spoken in as a book on Spotify? They do have a few. Like that could be cool if that was the case. Probably not, but let's see. It's just me having a. There is an official playlist season original soundtrack, but not as book. Oh yeah, well, but in Dutch. Oh no. But I want to do that. Oh, here it also is. Oh yeah. 16th of November 2021, 32 hours and 55 minutes. I'll definitely be filled for a while. I mean, that looks like it's book 1, The Eye of the World. That's worth considering. I just added it to my library. And I'll have to listen to it and see if that's the case. That could be a good idea. Yes, Rev, you and Megan are definitely on the same wavelengths. Rev says, I know they're on Audible. Okay. I don't have any subscriptions to those, but it could be worth considering because my challenge is the actual reading right now is not quickly done because of the crafting, and reading and crafting at the same time doesn't just not fully work. Daniela says, problem with my audiobooks in Spanish is mostly they are automated AI voices and they are bad. Oh no, that sounds horrible. Rev says, the Shadow Rising book 4 of the Wheel of Time might be my favorite book ever. That was where the Prime series ended. Yeah, and I'm like, why didn't they continue it? I would have very much liked to watch this. I'm really sad. And another series I'm really sad wasn't extended either or renewed was Shadow and Bone. I don't know if you watch that. That's on Netflix. That's actually quite good too. But they only did 2 series of them. Which is really like, ugh, I was quite sad when that happened. Of course, I think it was quite good as well. I think a challenge they had was that they had to do a lot of the recording during COVID. Maybe. The pillars of the Rudian seem to be fairly close to the books. Oh, that's good. But yeah, I will need to see what's possible and not. Definitely. But I mean, if I could listen to all of them via my Spotify Prime subscription, I would probably do that rather than getting a subscription to a new, like Audible or something like that. Because life is expensive, you may have noticed. Like, I mean, inflation's is still up here. Going crazy. Yarn stuck on my shirt. Life is expensive, so I need to make sure I don't get like too many things that I kind of don't ish need, if that makes sense. Do, 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 do. Would say the biggest problem was the showrunner they picked went out of his way to alienate the fans of the book, and it ended up cutting viewers by 3/4 from season 1 to season 2. Yeah, okay, that's not good. That's not good. I did have the impression that Rosamund Pike was very deeply involved with some of it too, though. He even went on a long tirade berating book fans for questioning him in interviews. Yeah, no, that's not good. That's a no-go. That should not be done. There's always a challenge of people's choices, right? You know, and then we can revert back to, so one of the books that I actually did read and I also seen the movies of is The Da Vinci Mystery by Dan Brown, as well as Angels and Demons, also by Dan Brown. And I've seen both of the movies. I have even seen both of them in the movie theater. And I think especially the Da Vinci Mystery, they did omit a very important piece of the story. I don't know how many of you guys have been reading either the Da Vinci Mystery or have been watching it at some stage. But if you only watched the movie, it made perfect sense in the sense of it was good. But if you also read the book, then I think there was a very important flaw in the movie. That's the fact that in the movie there's only one cryptex. There's only one cryptex. But in the book, the cryptex they unlock contains a smaller cryptex. And I think that's kind of like a missing fact. Mary Maxim is tempting me with 18 cents shipping. I will resist. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is indeed trying to tempt you. The devil's looking at you. Fight the angels. Fight the protection. My goodness. Danielle says, girls, I have to leave. Chores at home waiting for me now, but I did enjoy a lot of the company. Thank you so much. By the way, Audible comes with Prime as well. Do you have Audible with a Prime subscription? I will have to check. I will have to check if that's indeed the case, because that's interesting if that's the case. Thank you, Danielle. I will definitely have to check if that's also the case in the Netherlands. And have a great day. It was absolutely wonderful having you hanging around with us. And maybe if you have time, Wednesday morning, I would say check it out. Pop in and say hello. The idea is for us to be back on Wednesday. Rev has never ordered from Mary Maxim. He finds their prices kind of high. I wouldn't know. I haven't ordered from them either. It's because they're too far away and the import tax terrifies me. I mean, if I order for $100 of yarn including shipping, I will get to pay $125 before I kind of see it. Well, 121, but still. Or I buy for $100 of yarn, it's going to be $40 of shipping. I mean, it sucks living on the cross side of the ocean. Enjoy the day and have a great day, Daniela. It was absolutely wonderful to meet you. I am so happy that you are among our little group now of crafters. Oh my goodness, Janspiration is having 40% off sale on baby yarns. It is all sales today, isn't it? Is it because of Pentecost weekend coming up? I mean, even I get tempted with all these sale prices. Rev says I prefer my yarn a bit more mature. Oh my goodness, that was hilarious. Sorry, that wonderful comment. Ah, Rev wants it fully grown. Just saying. Don't complain, lol. Important into Uruguay is 60% over your shopping plus shipping. Oh my goodness. Do you have like 60% import tax? Would I be able to like, but if I would send something to you that you didn't buy, technically speaking, if I would send a gift to you, would you also still have to pay import tax on it? I hope not. But yeah, no, I shall not complain anymore, I guess. But you know, we have a 21% value add tax and then shipping and everything. Ugh, it's not cheap. Big yarn, big hook. Yep, the mantra of Rev. He likes his big hooks. I like big hooks, and I cannot lie. Sounds like a Shakira song. 60% tax? That's crazy. That almost sounds like, yeah, I don't know how to explain that, but corruption to some extent to me. Whoa. But yeah, I guess, you know, the US slamming on 50% tariffs of everything from India is crazy too, to my world. I think it's only a 50%, 10 or 15% tax on stuff from the EU. Um, Here, that said, I have been looking into how to accommodate that because now with my postal company opening up for shipping to the US again, um, because they will not care where the yarn is from as long as it's worked up because it's considered finished in the Netherlands. So technically, I could use the most expensive import tax yarn for you guys, and I could make a shawl or a beanie from it, and I could sell it, but you would only have to pay Dutch import tax on it, so to say. Or, yeah, Dutch tariffs, which is like EU tariffs. I don't know how many percent that is, but 10ish or so. Sir Mix-a-Lot. Also. Oh. Daniela says if you send me something as a gift, um, it depends on the customs goodwill, to be honest. Sometimes you have to pay all the same. Ugh. Oh, that's no fun. If remind me if I ever come to Uruguay, I shall stuff stuff in my suitcase and bring it to you. I don't know what, but I don't even know if I will ever come to Uruguay. That's another story. But I'd be open to bring stuff for you, like a crochet hook or something like that. I would probably need a tour guide in any case. So I'll bring you crochet stuff. You'll give me a nice tour of Uruguay. Sounds like a good deal. At least provide me recommendations. I was paraphrasing baby got back. Susan is asking Daniela if she's a native to Uruguay. A lot of wool. Definitely. Daniela is native from Chile, but lives in Uruguay now. So that's a bit like me, I guess, except I'm not in the South American aspect. Daniela, I am a Danish native from Denmark, and I moved to the Netherlands where I now live and have been for the last 18 years almost. 17 and a half to be quite exact. So I moved, it's not that far distance wise, but it is a different language. So I'm a native Dane speaking Danish, and I moved to the Netherlands. So putting up a little map of here, what is this? Oh, I did something at some stage. That is still here. Not sure how I did that. Okay. But yeah, so I moved 900 kilometers kind of southwest. My partner is Dutch. He's a native, and I moved here when we figured out that we had a good time together, and at some stage we had to figure out if we could live together, and I was the easiest person to move back then. Easiest and cheapest person to move. So it was logic that I was the one moving from A to B and not him from B to A. The house we live in right now is his, and he owned it already when we met, so he would have to sell his house to come to Denmark. And I lived rented in a student apartment, so it was a very easy, simple choice that I was the one that had to move. Danielle says, lovely how you dare to change languages. So it seems easy. So we were speaking English with one another in the beginning. And then I learned Dutch over time. So I speak fluent Dutch. I speak fluent English. Obviously, I speak fluent Danish from being a Danish native. And then I also speak, I wouldn't say fluent German, but I speak pretty good German. That would be the best description here. So I understand German well enough to do a bunch of stuff in German. And I also travel to German regularly, where I'm obviously also when I'm there using my German. So that also helps. But if it gets too technical, I might give them a look and say, please rephrase. And then as a Danish native, I also understand Swedish and Norwegian. That's a little bit similar to, I guess, Spanish and Portuguese. There are also similarities, right? So I'd never really thought about it, you know, it just happened, I guess. If you had told me this would happen, and if you told me this 20 years ago, like had you told me this in 2006, that today I would speak 4 languages more or less fluently, at least 3 fluently, and that I would live in the Netherlands, I would be like, yeah, right, not happening. So in that sense, it definitely just happened. Um, I can speak a few words French as well. Spanish is limited to un, dos, tres, and gracias. Um, in Italian, I can say just a little cheese for when we're out eating at a restaurant in Italy, which like is a long time ago. Since last time I was in Italy, I was in Milano. That was back in 2012. I've used to speak German, but then I did not use it for 20 years, so it's gone. And I used to speak a broken kitchen Spanish. Daniela, she says, well, nice indeed. I am off. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon to you all. Have a great day, Daniela. It was wonderful to meet you. I will hope to see you again on Wednesday morning, your time, for the second weekly stream. Oh, that was a lovely person to meet. Definitely hope she will come back Wednesday. That's another thing I love with these streams, right? With these lives, you know, that we are a little tight, close knit group, and we really learn a lot from each other, and we really get wiser around what happens, globally speaking. Rev says, oh no, the Spanish was 20 years ago and the German was 30 years gone. Excuse me while I go crumple to dust. No. That is indeed a while ago. I will have to agree with you on that account. That is indeed a while ago. We are just cracking on here. I have the feeling we'll have a color change soon. It looks like it. I just can't see the knot yet. And this time we can keep the knot on and just crack on because we already did 2 of them. See, as we get closer, we do have rows. And that, you know, when we get further and further out, the less and less rows I can do with each color. I am debating still, because the center is like a solid cream, that I may need to consider adding. It would depend on how big we are and how much is left. But I mean, do I want to play yarn chicken, or do I just want to crack on and then actually take that cream and add on and finish that row once that's there? Which is kind of like, I would really appreciate not needing to weigh my yarn when we get closer. That would be nice. But we'll have to see. We will have to see. So far, it's just still double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch. But I'm not sure, maybe, but I'm not sure if we will manage to do this today. We're definitely getting closer. And down here we can weave in ends, but I think that's gonna be after the stream. I mean, if we can reach to finish this row on the stream, I'd rather do that than weaving in the ends. Then I'll weave in the ends tonight or tomorrow. And I think we concluded on the vest that I do definitely have a better way of decreasing those stitches, which then means, wink wink of an eye, that if I do that, I will need to frock. Then maybe that is my project for tonight and tomorrow. I do also need to get groceries done later today. I should not forget that. Thursday is gonna be packing day. Okay, it's been 2.5 hour posture check, everyone. Unsprawn yourself, unprawn yourself. Yeah, well, oh my goodness. Ah, crackety. Ah, ha 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 ha. Look what we have right here. Do I need to say more? Chain color change. Oh my goodness. I really need for these lives, I need to make, just how much I appreciate members. I need to make a small little movie with a little kapaching sound that comes like with a rainbow or something like that for the color change. Like, color change. That would be so awesome. But now, when we are talking about celebrating, I should say thank you so much to the members I do have just quickly. Not just welcome, but just thank you for being a member here. It does support me and my little channel, so thank you very much. Two, four, two, four. It's right there, just before the hook, right? Boom, boom. It will be on the tip, happening here on the tip. Color change complete. We are now having 2 strands of coral combined with 2 strands of flamingo. And when the next color change comes, that is then not a color change, but a cake change. A cake change. Hoop-a-da-doo. Oh, no, no, no. Just a moment. I see that Rev is showing me something. Maybe something like this. Okay. Oh, Nightbot popped me away. Ooh, that could work. Let's see. He suggested something like this, and then we just need to add a bit of audio. That could definitely work. Like that, or a rainbow. Yeah, something along those lines. And then a little audio now is being like, ka-ching. Yep. I will instantly, just quickly save that one. Then I have it. for future reference. Definitely a good idea. But that's again one of all those things that we have talked about for a couple of times over the past few months, right? That I really should have and haven't gotten around doing. Priorities. I need to prioritize a few things. Well, one step closer, most definitely. But it is something along those lines, or really rainbow like that's really flashing out, or I don't know, something like that. You know, it has to have multiple rainbow colors because color change can be many things, right? It can also just be changing yarns if you're doing row work, like what you're doing with your cowl. Because reality is that every time any of us does a color change, we have the feeling that we are making good progress. Because you can see them like physically. You have this yes color feeling. It looks different. Yeah, I can't explain it better, but it gives a better real feeling of making progress. That's at least how I have it. Every time I see the color changes, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely making progress. Even though I know I'm making progress, but it feels more visible somehow. It's like the evidence. Yep. I'm not really sure if we can do that in 15 minutes. Maybe we can. I don't know. We'll see. We'll try. And if not, we will definitely get darn close. And I can easily finish that up tonight if that's not the case that we'll reach it today. So, yeah, I thought it would be a quick round. And technically it is. I mean, if I would have had to done double crochets in all of those stitches, that would have taken longer. Also, I should not forget, I did start 10-15 minutes late today. I should go find a battery for the clock on my kitchen because my kitchen clock still says it is at 10 minutes to 1. Well, 12 minutes to 1, but still. I mean, it's been like that for the past couple of hours. And that's definitely not the case. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it's a bit funny. You can feel the cake starts to be a bit more slowly uneven. It also explains that the cake is shrinking in size. And of course, obviously, as we go smaller, they shrink quicker because there is less yarn on the cakes. So the more you pull off, the quicker it goes. At least in comparison to the beginning. Dun, dun, dun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sold on me being able to finish this today because we still have too many tips left. I'm sorry, guys, but we get so far as we get, and we almost completed. We also did have a fair bit of chit chats about other things and looking at other things, so I guess it's okay. And I just realized we haven't seen Lisa at all today. I hope she's all right. What's her? Oh, they have a bank holiday, don't they? I think it's her birthday today. I think it's Lisa's birthday today. Rose says she did a lot of work and we got a color change. No shame in this game. That's true. Susan says, okay, guys, time for me to go out. Enjoy your day, evening, everyone. Have a nice, nice day, Susan. It was absolutely wonderful for you to spend some time with us. We, as always, do enjoy your company. So I wish you an absolutely blessed day. But I think it's Lisa's birthday today. The weather for New Jersey currently is sunny with a temperature of 88 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 31 degrees Celsius. That's warm. The wind is blowing from south-southwest at 6 miles per hour. The humidity is 45. It's supposed to get hot. Well, it looks hot already. Like, it's 10 to 11 and it's already 31 degrees. That's not normal in my world. That's warm. Like, already warm. So Susan promised me one thing: keep hydrated during the day. That is definitely weather that could cause heat strokes. So keep hydrated, girl, and have a great day. Yes, definitely summer clothing for that weather. As Megan says, it's roasting in New Jersey here for May. Yeah, sounds like it. What? I'm like, that's warm. Currently, the weather for Waco is mostly cloudy with a temperature of 81 degrees Fahrenheit or 29 degrees, 27 degrees Celsius. Wind is from southwest at 9 miles per hour and the current humidity is 72. It gets less and less humid. Yep, definitely you are. So here, maybe we should quickly take it, but I bet it's still cloudy and not super warm, 16, 17 degrees maybe. Let's see what Nightbot says. Conditions are showers, definitely in the vicinity. Definitely, we have seen showers today. With a temperature of 61 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius, wind is blowing from west, and the humidity is 57. And I can tell you, it keeps being like this all day. So yep, it is gonna cool off a little bit in the evening, of course, but generally, it's not super warm. It's not super cold. It's just yeah, yeah. It's a little bit on the colder side, I guess, for me, but like not like insanely cold. I guess it just feels colder due to the showers um and because it's cloudy, right? Like been 18 degrees in sun, I would have been like perfect May weather. So yeah, no, no, I don't think we'll reach that. It is close though. That is Waco weather, Waco weather in January. Yeah, well, weather here in January is a lot colder than that, mate. But I guess you guys are also a little bit closer to the equator than we are, so I guess it makes sense. Dun, 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 dun. And it's even reasonably mild here in the winters because we have the Gulf Stream, right? Which comes from the Caribbean. And it passes along the way, so it does turn it a bit milder, but generally speaking, I don't think I would like to be without it and experience it colder. I'm definitely a girl that prefers a bit warmer weather. Also not too warm. Like, my perfect weather would be maybe like this in the winter, then 20 degrees in spring and autumn and 25 degrees in summer. But I'm not so sure there's any place on earth where that would actually be a reality. Um, I think maybe the closest I could come would be New Zealand. They had something quite similar to it, and that was actually rather nice. Yeah, we have the Gulf Stream for now anyway. There's some sign it might be about to collapse. And if that collapses, it's going to be freaking cold here. So, no, thank you. At least in winters. In summers, it's going to be warmer. So, the Gulf Stream keeps us cool in the summer, so to say, and warm in the winter. So, it will change drastically if that changes. That would be no good. It would decimate a lot of Europe. It would definitely change a lot of Europe for sure. Um, Look, another. That was the one from the row before. But right now, that's the one I will have to weave in later today. As I say, this is what we have left. 5 minutes, maybe. Who knows? If I'll squeeze it, a little optimistic. Can try. 5 minutes. I don't know. It's not impossible. So I'm one of the persons that's very appreciative of the Gulf Stream, but indeed there are rumors that it's changing. Rare things also impacting these global floods of water, right? Mm. My app is telling me that we have a hobby bingo coming up as well in 5 minutes. So I should technically, in a few, maybe just pop in to get my 25 points, because while hobby is defending themselves and explaining what they meant with AI and stuff like that, and they're trying their best, that's not scared me away as a customer, because hobby is just a place where I can get reasonable yarn depending on the projects I have in mind. So, can't like completely just walk from them because of AI stuff. Last time Europe had that kind of weather, no Gulf Stream would cause acre. The little ice age crops would fail for decades at a time. Yep. Yeah. I'm not in the mood for ice ages. No, 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 no. That is not meant for me. It may fail once I'm gone from this earth. Then I'm then exactly not concerned about freezing. Maybe. Maybe, maybe, maybe. I mean, this looks like it's been good. So when I start working back, I can also sew in those ends, which would be really nice. More ends done is good. But yeah, please no ice age and glaciers coming down from the North Pole to here. That I would not appreciate. But obviously, if it happens, it happens, and that's just how people gotta live with it. But it will take a long, long, many years for it to get that far. And I am likely gone and past before then. Of course, if I do anything that antagonizes or aggregates, increases the pace of things like that, I would consider living my life differently, right? Uh, 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 I do apologize for moving further and further back from the camera, you guys. I guess it's also because we are getting closer to the end. The end is in sight. Even here, the stream and here. So it is technically 1 more minute, but I'm gonna finish this because we are so close. I am gonna take the 1 or 2 minutes extra it's gonna take to finish this row. And then we'll have a show off and we'll have a nice goodbye. That seems to be a good plan, I think. Then I need to prep to clear up this mess and ensure that we can have some dinner. Because I am not so lucky to visit Rev and have pot roast today. Roasted potatoes, veggies, sausage. Nope. I have to make do with my leftovers. My goodness, we are almost complete with this row. Then we can hold it up and you guys can conclude again, yet again, that this requires a larger frame to show it all, because that is what reality is. This shawl has grown so big that I'm slowly not able to have it in my webcam frame anymore. That's insane. But it's the reality. Oh no, I need to redo this stitch. I see the yarn split, and that is not an option. Especially because it was split on a place where I could just crochet over it for the following row. And I believe, while we did have to, I just need to check the end indeed. Row 47, my friends. I need to do that. And then 2 double crochets and 3 double crochets, and then it's turn. Okay, yeah, cool. That was exactly how I remembered it. Which in this row is slightly different from the previous rows. But I guess it is to make stitch count fit whatever comes next. That's it. We'll get stitch markers in to keep track of my progress. And well, actually it's a good side, because we have the front side for where the cake is, and what I really should do is pop over here, pop it up here. We should default it because it's rather dark. Otherwise, I think I know why. Why it's suddenly so bright. Also, we did have the lamp I have here in the table. The light bulb kind of broke, and we replaced it this weekend because then the second broke, and that was a little bit too dark. Let's see, like this is where we are. Isn't that crazy? It's really difficult. Like, I can't get both top and bottom in one screen, and now I have to look at the monitor to see what I'm actually doing here. Ooh. But I mean, and at the bottom here, you can really see how that fans out and how it kind of like waves. Nice. Definitely nice. Crazy how far we got. I hope you enjoyed watching that little end. It's 5:05 and I need to start prep for dinner. So I'm going to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much if you're watching the stream from the very beginning until the very end. I so much appreciate your support as much as ever before. I hope I will see you all on Wednesday when I'm back around 2 p.m. Central European time. So that's about 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, etc. So I'm going to say thank you so much for watching. Love you all. Take care and happy crafting until I see you either in another video or on Wednesday in another live. Bye.